Yeah, this week on Tuesday, the company brought together the investor community to basically do a victory lap. Unlike all the companies we talked about today, they all sold hard on their earnings. You know who didn't sell hard on their earnings and actually you see we talked about this like 2 weeks ago with the super green candle.
Yeah,
that was IBM. I mean, okay. When in the world did IBM get the mega green candle of growth after an earnings report? Well, what happens is when you change your forecast from something like about a 1% model to a 5% growth model, that's like a 500% or 400 or 500% growth. But you're also, another company that's doing a $0 to $5 billion revenue victory lap as it's seen its generative AI business go from 0 to 5 billion in just 6 quarters. But this was a broad day. Company kind of marched every one of the businesses on stage. Arvind, I think, could feel very happy to know that kind of long before AI was an important topic like it is today, they changed their kind of whole core business thesis to hybrid cloud and AI. I don't know if they're going to have to change it to AI and hybrid cloud at some point, but the ability to kind of say, hey, we got it right with Red Hat. Hey, we've got it right with small language models. They showed some really compelling data, how basically they were able to do, small language models with Granite and StructLab fine tuning to get like 96%, performance improvements. You got to look. The tweets are in the show notes. I don't have it all to memory, but much greater efficiency, much more performance, smaller parameters. And they're showing the ability to do that, which is super impressive because this is what I keep saying, like the small language models, the tuning, the forking of bigger models and using them for industries. This is going to be the scale enterprise use case, and IBM is sitting in a really good position in this particular part of the market. There's also some other little wins, like talking about, the $1 billion of IP revenue related to the research it's done on quantum. And nobody gives the company any valuation for what it's done, but it actually has one of the most compelling quantum roadmaps in the marketplace. And they've got the market use cases. One of the things we don't talk about this a lot, Pat, but early in any technology transformation cycle, there's always money to be made in services. And IBM is one of the only technology and services companies that does the full GSI consulting business, as well as has a huge technology and software portfolio. And so that's really promising. And then the last thing I'll say is Rob Thomas got on stage and actually showed how their software business had actually exceeded the rule of 40, which I don't think anybody thinks of IBM software as a rule of 40 company. I think they got to rule of 41. So that's a really impressive stat for a company that has a huge software portfolio and doesn't necessarily have that sort of typical SaaS rocket ship growth. So hit a lot of things right on a lot of different cylinders, Pat. It was a really positive day, and I think that's something people hadn't come to expect out of IBM, but I think they've really turned a corner under new leadership over the last few years.
I wish you could have been there, had some on-site customer visits that I was pre-committed to. Wish I were there with you. IBM stock in the last 6 months, it's up 36%. Last month, right, it's up 13%. And this is a impact from not only its earnings, but also this investor day. I don't think that analysts incorporated the kind of 5x growth between prior year and forecasted year. But I like some of the nuggets, whether it was quantum, whether it was the cost of these SLMs to run. And, Dan, we always talk about the end beneficiaries of this. IBM is an enabler of biggest enterprise, particularly regulated AI, and they're not just going to dump everything into OpenAI and call it a day, right? So huge opportunity for the company, and kudos to IBM and Arvind, quite frankly, having the vision to turn the company from a services business into a product software.
And really quickly, because I want to get my stat right. So we're doing this, Signal 65, one of our favorite children, Pat. We're doing this validation some of the numbers they showed about cost efficiency on performance on small models. So
Yeah.
Granite 7 billion plus model plus Instruct Lab versus ChatGPT 4 Turbo got 4% better performance at 98% lower cost, Pat.
That's
And
crazy.
Llama 370 billion got 6% better performance at 75% lower cost. So these are the efficiencies you and I have been beating the drum on